What is up, guys? I'm going to give you guys some brief tips on what I use and feel are the best settings while live streaming using the Ryzen 1700. Now, before we get into that, if you guys haven't done so already, if you could do me a huge favor if this video has helped you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell. Now, if you guys are interested in the setup I am currently using for streaming, I will leave links in the description below. You can go check them out. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get into the settings. Alright, so the only settings you want to worry about is your stream settings, your output settings, your audio settings, and your video settings. So let's head over to stream. Now stream, simply you want to choose your service you're going to be streaming to. You got Twitch, you got YouTube, you got Mixer, you got Facebook, you got Restream, which actually allows you to stream to multiple platforms. But here, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at Twitch. Now you will obviously want to put in your stream key, and that will actually authenticate the process to go ahead and stream live to that platform. So let's go to output. Now output, this is what differentiates how good or how bad your quality looks. Now in here we got encoder, which is X264, which is simply stating we are using the CPU to do all the encoding power. Now there is an option for H264, which does use your GPU to do all the encoding. But here we're going to use the X264, which is going to use the Ryzen 7 1700 to go ahead and encode it. Now your rescale output, this is simply saying what you want your resolution to be while you're streaming. Now you got to watch with this because a lot of people will adjust this and they don't realize that they can do it under your video settings also. Now I would prefer doing it under the video settings, as this will actually output just the streaming service. Now if you want to output just the streaming service but you want to record at 1080p, you want to adjust this one and leave the video setting alone. But typically I leave this at 1920 by 1080, whatever my output setting is, I leave this setting alone. Now your rate control, CBR, that stands for constant bit rate. Now what this is going to do is keep your bit rates constantly at 7,000. Like this one's going to constantly push 7,000 bit rate. Now, constant bit rate can cause more buffering issues, but it always keeps the stream looking smoother. So like I have my bit rate set at 7,000, it'll keep it constantly at 7,000, so the quality won't adjust frequently as much. Now, as far as bit rate, typically Twitch, I think, maximizes the bit rate at 6,000. So you would put in here 6,000 depending on what your upload speed. Now you also want to head over to a website called speedtest.net and you want to do an upload and download test speed. Now my upload is 21 megs, which would be 21,000 bitrate. The max I would go preferably would be half of that, which would be 10,500. I wouldn't go anything over half of that. That way for the fluctuations, we don't have any buffering issues with the viewer. We can go ahead and close that. So typically I keep mine at 7,000. That way the less people buffering, because obviously the higher it is, the more buffering, because if they don't have good internet, they'll start buffering watching their stream. All right, so keyframe intervals, I leave it at auto. I let the platform choose which one it needs to be. CPU usage, I set mine for faster. Typically the lower it is, the better motions look during the gameplay. The issue with that is the more CPU usage it uses. If you're playing fast motion games like Call of Duty, Dying Light, etc., you want to leave this at faster. Now, if you guys are doing slower games, slower motion games, you can lower this fast, maybe even medium, and get away with it. Just keep an eye on your CPU usage down here. Let's head over to audio. I don't believe you need to adjust anything here in audio. Actually, let's go back to output audio here. Okay, so for your tracks, I typically leave it at 160. I believe YouTube allows 160. I believe it allows up to 192. So I keep it at 160. Twitch, I believe the max is 128, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what it is. So you don't really need to adjust this. On Twitch, I would actually lower it to 128 because you ain't going to get anything higher than that anyways. So there's no reason to send that bit out, that much bits out for something it ain't going to take. So that's it for streaming. So now we'll head to video. Now, your base resolution. This is what you are receiving as far as your resolution. Your output is what you're sending to the viewer on the stream. I typically keep it 1920 by 1080, but this is where you would adjust it. If the max you can get is 6000 bitrate with Twitch, I would actually adjust the output resolution to 900p, just because 6000 at 1080 is going to look a bit choppy when the motion gets really heavy. So I would typically leave that at 900p. Now, if you're running downscaled, which means if you're running a 1080 base and then 900 outscaled, I would run 32 samples. That'll give you the best quality downscale you could possibly get. And then simply 60 frames per second is what I'm typically running. And I believe that's it. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, leave it down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell. I appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you on the next one.